Yo, what's poppin'? All my peeps, it is I, your host, the most Renaissance man who always thinks he can, and you're a champion of the peeps, Patty Pitts, back once again in the Yard of Streams for another edition of the Raw Rewind, presented to you by Pitts and Sara's Wrestling Show, where we take no nights off. And it's not just me, Patty P. I'm joined alongside, as always, the best of the West you can't forget about Sara Marshall. What's popping, girl?
Hey, yo.
Hello. Oh, jeez. Okay. Sorry, Remy just hopped up and ran away, so it startled me.
Do you think that Remy also wanted to say Ayo?
I don't know. Maybe
that's why.
She's a diva, so
she really is.
We don't have time. We don't have time for that.
We don't, to be honest with you, because we kind of just had an historic night in the Russellverse, specifically in WWE, with Monday Night Raw debuting on Netflix. Mm-hmm. First time in the show's history that it is not going to be on cable television, and it is on the streaming platform Netflix. January 6th, 8 o'clock. They only said it 1,000 times, and boy, did I remember in the entire world remember that show. And that's what we're here to talk about today, because it's got a lot of opinions. A lot of opinions are swayed, Sara. All right? There's a lot to talk about and dissect about the show. And for the first time in a long time, I think you and I are coming into the yard on opposite sides of a majority of things that happened, which doesn't happen often, of standing our ground.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say we're super opposite, because I would say that we understand why.
I'm just saying, different teams.
It's
we're at different sides.
Yeah, if you're thinking about it from a business perspective, you get it, but then at the same time, it's we still don't agree from a fan perspective, I guess.
Correct. Yeah. My fandom is very, I don't want to say swayed, but it's definitely skewed by how my mind works and how my different interests in the business. And that's something that I love about wrestling, is that we're all a fan of the product, but we all view it in different ways. And you have people like you and I who have been watching this our entire life and have made it part of our identity. Then you have people like Kay Adams, who her first time watching wrestling was at the Netflix debut last night when she was at the show, where she posted a video of The Undertaker on a motorcycle and asked, "What's this guy's story?" And the different sides of the spectrum all coming together for this, monster debut. It was historic. Whether you loved it, thought it was meh, or hated it, you can absolutely recognize that this was a monumental step for the wrestling industry that is going to have a butterfly effect on, the future of the industry.
Agreed.
And with that being said, Sarah, I think enough of the mucking about. Let's hear from the peeps, because they were here before us, technically. Our girl Lenise, who says hi, she was in here a little before. Bad guy, Ayo, he's here today. Sophia and her boyfriend watched again with their John Cena Farewell Tour shirts. And is that Alien Technology?
Yeah, he had a different name.
He had a different name, but finally real fans. Yes.
Look at the puppy in his picture.
That's a cute pup. It's a cute pup. Thank you for understanding. And yes, we are real fans. We freaking get it. And then David was popping. Talk about loyal peeps. Oh, the Fromaholic Fletch.
What's going on?
What's popping? Very ominous profile picture there. Yeah, the bad guy. We'll talk about the final boss. Yeah, he said a lot of hype and didn't deliver. We
Agreed.
are going to
See, we're one and the
There it
same.
is.
We're one and the
This is why we
same.
have different peeps here in the chat.
Yep.
And yes,
He
we are.
is.
So we're gonna be live when NXT goes live. I currently do not have any wrestling on, so it's not spoiled for me. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. I would love to see The Rock bottom Eddie Thorpe and then hit him with people's elbow.
Is a guy like Eddie Thorpe worthy of that though? That's the thing. Is I feel
no, that's just a personal thing.
You know
I
what
just
I
don't
mean?
like Eddie Thorpe.
I know, but I just am like, I mean, it
just
would make sense for the story. I get it, especially because I think that they went to, didn't they go to the Golden Globes together?
They did, yeah. That was a really nice moment.
So, like, I get it, but when somebody like The Rock or Stone Cold or The Undertaker does something now, it feels like it needs to be someone who's worthy of that spot, and I don't get that vibe from Eddie. But
no, he definitely doesn't deserve it. This is definitely a personal feeling that I want.
Yeah.
If you want to actually continue the story in a logistical way when it comes to wrestling, isn't there some Samoan that was at the PC that was in New Japan? And it's like his name begins with an H. Adiku.
Oh yeah, I can't pronounce it. Yeah,
but I can't. Someone's gonna say it in the comments, and it's gonna click a switch in my brain. But have him come and stand up in her honor or something. Yeah, there it is. Yes, him.
Haiku Leo. I don't know.
I
I never like to mispronounce people's names. That's why I just don't say it. Because it's embarrassing, I feel like, but also you don't want it to come off disrespectful because it's not like you're not trying. You just I haven't heard someone say it. I just need someone to say it and then I try to repeat it. It's what I do with football players' names too.
Oh yeah, need to get them said over and over again. I would like to see that if we're gonna continue this Ava Eddie Thorpe thing. But yeah, I just either that happens or Trick Williams beats him 1, 2, 3. So it got added to a triple threat. It's Eddie Thorpe, Trick Williams, and I can't think of the other person. I don't know why I'm blanking. My mind has just been on Netflix for the past, I don't know, 5 days, it feels like, even before during SmackDown. So yeah, that's just where my mind is. So Sarah, let's just take us there while I go grab a tissue.
Okay, so as our final boss in the chat already mentioned, I think like the biggest takeaway that you can talk about from The Rock's opening of Raw is he seems to have abandoned the final boss gimmick. And it's kind of sad. I'm not somebody that was a big supporter of The Rock this time around. I didn't hide that because of what he was trying to do to my man's Cody. So I was one of the Cody crybabies. But this did bum me out because like if you follow us on TikTok, I didn't make a prediction video. I talked about what I wanted to see from the Netflix debut. And one of those things was The Rock revealing himself as the puppet master, behind the Bloodline 2.0, assuming that he was going to show up to the Netflix debut as the final boss. But you knew immediately when he came out that wasn't happening. If you didn't know immediately, you knew when he started walking down the entrance ramp, when he was slapping hands with fans. All right, we're getting Dwayne. The Rock is not here.
DJ.
Yeah. And that was proven further with his interactions with Cody, and they're like all smiley and chummy, and then they go on Instagram Live afterwards. So other than, I guess being a little bit shocked that he's just cascading that to the side for now, I guess we could talk about that, but also we agree that we believe this also means that he is not working Mania. But we can hold off on that if you want to talk about like how did you feel about no final bossing from the final boss.
I wasn't upset because I didn't feel that we need it. You know what I mean? It's not something that's like, oh, we need the final boss to save us from what's going on right now. The product's lacking, and when he first came out and did that whole spiel, to me, it felt like, you know how before, I don't know how, but like before a player, before something, the person will come and introduce the story and whatnot and set the scene. I don't know. That's what it felt like to me with The Rock. Like, it felt like before we got the show that is Monday Night Raw, we were getting like The Rock as the MC because he was he's the Hollywood Connect, whatever. And he was just trying to get the fans, like the casual fans, to be excited for it and get them hyped for this tribal combat match. And even, shout out Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, all that. Like, he was just out there to give a speech. To me, it didn't feel like we were getting The Rock at all.
Yeah.
It just felt like we were getting, oh, that's Dwayne Johnson, who's The Rock. Like, it really felt just not part of WWE, like not canon. If that's the best way to describe it.
Well, and I think that's one of the issues that I had, right? Because like that was the first thing that we saw as something part of the show. Because obviously Triple H came out, but you knew that he was going to come out to introduce it, so I don't count that. But the Rock said he was going to be there. He announced it on Instagram, and the last time we saw him, he was the final boss. He came out with the People's Championship. Sorry, he came out and he did like the 3-2-1 or 1-2-3, whatever he did. Like, he was pissed off, and so you assumed, okay, the next time we see him, it's just going to be a continuation of that or an explanation of that, or we're going to see where is this going and what is the bloodline story doing right now, and like this was just, oh, we want to have the most eyes on the show. The best way to do that is to have The Rock at the beginning. And it's like, but you don't have to be a fan or have been paying attention for the last year to understand what he's doing, and I felt like that bummed me out because I really wanted to see some sort of progression of what we think is going to happen between him and Roman at some point. But as I said, we believe that this was, other than just trying to cater to the casual fan, obviously, this felt like confirmation that he's not working Mania, or at least at this point, he's not working Mania, because this did nothing to further anything between him and Roman. And this was the time to do that. Like, you could have easily done it because we know that Roman, first of all, isn't supposed to be on Raw. He's just going to probably periodically show up now that they're on Netflix. For now. And The Rock isn't going to be there every single week. So it's not something that was going to be dealt with all the time. But like, they treated this like it's like a PLE between Survivor Series and Royal Rumble. And so it felt like if there was going to be any sort of clue about what is going to happen at WrestleMania between Roman and The Rock, we were going to figure that out on the Netflix debut. There was nothing there other than like we saw the hug and maybe a little eyeing or whatever. But I think that's more of like, okay, there's still something here, but it's not happening this year. At least that was like the impression I got.
Yeah. To Cody, I would agree with you there. It's the interaction that he had with Roman after the Roman solo match, the tribal combat match. That's where my mind keeps me hopeful that he will have some sort of hand in WrestleMania, or he'll have some sort of role. Do I, am I needing it? No, I don't need it. I'm pretty content with how things are going in the product now, that the current roster would do a very good job of crushing Mania in Vegas.
And that was, and see what's funny is, right? Like, and I'm not taking anything away from what happened at WrestleMania 40, but this was like the argument that I was having last year about how the state of WWE does not need to rely on bringing back the old stars and the nostalgia favorites to make the company hot or to get people to tune in. Like, that was why I was saying we don't need Rock to be in the main event to get people to watch WrestleMania 40. At least Roman Rock. Like that didn't have to be it. That's what I was saying. And we're still in that, which is phenomenal. You know, people take that as like a slight towards The Rock. No, like they're in a position where they don't have to bring those people in to get people to watch like they did 10 years ago because nobody wanted to watch the product. So that means that WWE is in such a good spot that like they have so many of their own stars. They don't have to bring these people in. So if that's the case, then WrestleMania 41 is going to be just fine. Maybe they put this off till 42. I don't know how they really pick this back up. But I mean, I'm sure they'll figure it out. Maybe we'll see like The Rock will revert back to the final boss. Like, I don't know. I feel like that seems like such a tricky situation to try and like get him back into that character. But I don't even want to worry about that right now because it's not my problem. You know what I mean? Like you guys decided to let him go out there and like kiss babies and hug everybody and whatever. You're going to have to figure it out to get the final boss back because I don't want to see babyface Rock versus babyface Roman or heel Roman. Like I wanted
we need the final boss
versus babyface Roman. Like that is what I think we wanted to see. That was so much more intriguing to me than what they were trying to get us to be excited about last year. Like final boss version of The Rock was way more interesting than what they were trying to show us.
He's a top 5 heel of all time. Final boss.
And it's funny because I don't care. It was 3 months.
That's what I'm saying. I don't care the length.
And not even consistently. You know? And that's what's great about him buying into the pivot. You know, because like it ended up being way better than probably what they originally wanted to do. So it's just unfortunate that we didn't get to see a continuation of that, but we'll see. Like I said, I still don't think he's working Mania, at least not right now, but we shall see. But since we were talking about Roman, obviously we were right about the opening match being Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa for the custody of Paul Heyman in Tribal Combat. I think this was the right move. They already had The Rock come out, so like that obviously was not going to be something that people were going to be looking forward to at the end of this match. So it's like, make it the first match. The match was fine. I feel like I've seen it. It was
good. Yeah. I have no issues with the match at all. It was a really good way to start the show and kick off the energy and vibe of what Raw and Netflix is going to be. You know, I feel that a lot of times with Tribal Combat, you know, Falls Count Anywhere, Extreme Rules, like any of those, the thought that blood is going to come, you know, that blood is going to happen, just hits the mind immediately because you think of the old school days, and sometimes it's just not the case. You know, the weapons that they used it for a reason. You know, everything has a purpose, and that's the difference between WWE and the competition, is that things in WWE are meant with a purpose, not just for pure brutality.
Yeah.
And what I really liked about this match too is that they went back into the, you know, you could hear the dialogue between the wrestlers in the ring, and not the dialogue of them calling spots. I mean, like the dialogue of them really getting into the character, you know, building a story of why these two are fighting, and really that old school way where, you know, or when you saw it with Jay and Roman at the beginning of that feud, and the beginning of the whole tribal chief character. That's where Netflix is going to be a strength for them, is they will be able to do stuff like that to a larger extent. And this was only just a taste of it, to see, you know, dip the toe in the water. It's a good way to describe it. So the match itself to me was fine. It wasn't the greatest thing I ever saw, and it wasn't the worst thing I ever saw. So, you know, it pushed the story along. Roman won, which makes sense. And the interaction after even made me think that we actually could get Rock at WrestleMania.
See, I think that we're getting Punk Roman at WrestleMania. Because if we're thinking that Rock is not going to be at Mania, my thought process is Roman is now the undisputed tribal chief and has reunited with Mr. Paul Heyman. So there's not gonna be any more battles over who's his daddy. And I think, there's a reason we saw the moment between him and Punk and him telling him like he owes him a favor, blah, blah, blah. Right now, I don't know what they're going to do with Punk at Mania. You assume, or at least what we thought, that this whole thing with him and Seth Rollins was going to be a trilogy or something, which that's still possible, but I don't know if that'll be pushed out till Mania, but he could definitely ask Paul, now that he's back in cool with Roman, to be like, hey, I want my match with Roman. And that's the favor. That will be, I think that's also super interesting to the story between Paul and Roman. Because there's been signs of friction between the two of them. I know that that's not going to be everyone's favorite, and I'm not saying that's for sure what's happening. I'm just saying I think that could be an idea, and the title doesn't have to be involved necessarily, but I do think people want to see Punk versus Roman at some point, and what better time to do it than at Mania, and with Paul Heyman's involvement,
That's my mind goes that the favor was to main event WrestleMania, and okay, the favor is to main event WrestleMania, and Paul has to help him. He doesn't have to win the Royal Rumble necessarily to start up a feud with Roman to get them to Mania. There's different ways that they can go about it. So I just, to me, this match doesn't feel as big unless it has the championship on the line.
I mean, and I think that's a fair point, obviously, but like when we were talking about this before we went live, I was saying that I feel like Punk is going to have to potentially pick and choose what is going to satisfy that hunger of being champion at Mania and main eventing at Mania. He might have to pick one or the other, and the likeliest to happen this year, at least, is main eventing. Like, that is something I think that he could achieve this year rather than walking in as champion and main eventing because of it. I just don't see a pathway to him becoming champion between now and Mania, just given what everything looks like on, Gunther's plate and Cody's plate. But I do think that if they did something with him and Roman and there is no title involved, I still think that could be a main event because of how long people have been like, oh, that would be so cool to see them like lock up. You know what I mean? I don't know. Definitely it's going to be something that we'll see eventually. Obviously, we were meant to hear what Heyman and Punk were saying to each other. But before we get to comments, I wanted to also bring this up. Because during the Tribal Combat match, Mr. Kevin Owens came out, and who did he help?
He helped Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline 2.0.
Yeah,
Sara.
and why was he doing that?
Because he hates Roman Reigns.
And who said that this could happen?
I think it was said on the show at some point.
Yeah.
By you.
Yeah.
I think at some point it was you who said that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So shout out to everybody who said that I was an absolute crazy moron or whatever you wanted to say. Because
crazy moron is those are two things I don't hear.
Yeah. Because I said that this was a potential thing that could happen. Granted, it didn't happen in the capacity that I necessarily thought, because I thought maybe Kevin could be on Bloodline's team, Bloodline 2.0's team for Survivor Series. However, it just took a little while for it to be proven that, yeah, he will do whatever against Roman because he just hates Roman that much.
He made his life hell for 4 years. Of course,
yes.
that man's going to cost him any opportunity he can get.
Yes. And I mean, yes, there was no title involved, so maybe the significance for people wasn't there. But the Ula Fala, I think, is basically equivalent to a title.
That's the Samoan undisputed title.
Yeah. So Kevin Owens trying to mess up that, I was here for it. So I had to point that out because I was like, hey, like right when it happened, I was like freaking out and I just was like, well, who was right? It was me. So yeah.
You know what?
Do you want to do comments so that I don't have to try and read them? You know?
You know what?
Like,
sure.
I'm blind.
For you, anything. Gotcha. Hey, Pitts, you better hide your USA Championship. Mercedes Moné wants your titles. Yeah, man. The belt collector apparently just stealing gimmicks.
Or even Charlotte Flair, because she's gonna come back and automatically go after Tiffany, probably.
No, she ain't. Oh no, yes. Yeah,
so there is not a single title in this world that Charlotte Flair does not want.
Yeah.
She sees a title, she sniffs a title. She wants it.
That's one of my favorite running jokes on the IWC. It's just anytime Charlotte Flair sees a title, she needs it.
Yeah, and that's what's gonna happen. She's probably gonna win the Rumble so that she can face Tiffany.
To be honest, like
I'm not mad about her face. I hate that she'll win the Rumble. That's the thing. I'd rather her have to battle through everybody.
Who else could win the Rumble?
I don't know, but we don't have to worry about that right now.
Fucking feed me like Stephanie Vacour. Like I'm telling you, 1 year an NXT person's gonna win it.
Okay.
And they're gonna challenge for the WWE one. It's gonna just you wait. All right. Hit it. Hit the next band.
And then
we're talking about it. We're talking about the Royal Rumble.
Yes. So then we had Mr. John Cena come out and he kicked off his retirement tour this year in an ugly shirt. The shirt is so nice on the front, but man, the door on the back.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask: is it ugly because it's Dodger colors and you're just a really diehard Bostonian? No, it's the design.
I like the design on the front. I hate the design on the back, so I won't buy it for that reason.
Because it's the door.
Yeah, I hate the door. I get it, but I'm like, I don't want a door on my shirt. Like, I don't want, like, I don't like. But I did order the new Funko.
Okay.
There is a new Funko for John Cena, guys, and you only have until the 13th to order it. So make sure you go and do that if you want it. And it also doesn't ship until May. So anyway.
That's insane.
So
that's after WrestleMania.
I know. Oh, wait. You know what? Remember I told you I bought my Boston Celtics ones?
Oh, do you
remember I ordered it in June and it didn't come until December? Here they are, by the way. They're in this nice box.
Is that the starting 5?
Yep. And then watch. Watch.
Oh, was one of the ones like garage door?
Yes. I just can't remember how to open it now. Oh, wait. No. It doesn't open. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's rude.
It pushes out. I forgot.
It's a push.
Yeah, it's a push.
I hate.
Here.
Look at Derek White's bald ass.
I know.
Oh, look at that. And Tatum.
So cool, isn't it?
That is really
Love
cool.
It. It's a really nice box and everything too. Like they did a really nice job.
See, when we upgrade this shit into having our own office spaces, you need to start putting those around.
I know. I just don't have enough room.
We will get to the office space, but we gotta get more peeps in the chat for us to get an office space. Do you want to see Sara have an office where she can display her Funkos and post all about them so you can see? Like that's what we're trying to get here, guys. Help us get there. All right, John Cena in the Rumble. Yeah,
so John Cena comes out and, he's just doing his typical John Cena thing, just talking about that this is going to be his retirement tour. He doesn't think that he's ever going to get number 17, but there because he's not going to come out and demand matches, which I think that's what they're going to do. But that didn't sit right with people. Did you see that people were like, no, we want Super Cena. We want Cena out there being like, I want everything. I don't know that I want that.
I did see that. I did see that.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, you are just living in nostalgia.
What's funny about that is, to me though, is when he was doing that, everybody hated him except for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of funny that now that's what they want. But anyway, he said that he doesn't think number 17 will happen unless he does something like, I don't know, win the Elimination Chamber or win Money in the Bank or maybe win the Royal Rumble. And that was when he basically declared that he would be in the Royal Rumble. And that spiked the conversation of most people online have already decided they want John Cena to win the Men's Royal Rumble. That's what they want. How many Royal Rumbles has he won? I know he won 08. When's the next one? When was the other one?
13. It was the one before 29 because he won it to face The Rock at WrestleMania. That's when The Rock beat CM Punk at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, screwed over Punk. Okay. Yeah, so I feel like that's okay because like he's won Money in the Bank and whatever, so it's like he doesn't need to do that, and it's not like he's won the Rumble that too many times for people to have a complaint about that. I am totally okay with him winning the Royal Rumble and getting, a match at Mania, no matter whoever. He could face Cody, which is a current rumor that we're going to get Cena Cody at Mania. But there's also been rumors about him facing Gunther. So those are the two champions right now. So it could go either way. However, can I tell you what I want to see?
What do you want to see, Sarah?
Can I tell people?
What do you want to see?
So I want to see John Cena win number 17. I've been saying this forever. I was saying if anyone deserves to beat the Ric Flair 40 plus whatever year record, it is John Cena. Like, there's a fair argument for Randy Orton, of course, but I'm here on behalf of John Cena. So I want to see that this year because we know that after 2025, he's not going to get back in the ring. We're not going to get like a one more match thing from him, right? My thing is, though, I don't want it to happen the first time he gets a title match. I think if he wins the Royal Rumble and he gets that match at WrestleMania, I don't want to see him win at WrestleMania. Not because I don't want him to win, but because I think all of us are going to be looking at this final run of his, and there are certain people we want him to face, and there are certain things we want him to accomplish. A lot of people want him to face CM Punk, Randy Orton, whoever, Cody, right? So there's like a bucket list of that. But then there's also the idea of him becoming a Grand Slam champion. So he needs to win the Intercontinental Championship at some point. Valid. But I think most people want to see him get the 17. And I think that's going to be the high, like that is going to be the focal point of this run. Like he even just came out on the Netflix debut and that was what he was talking about. And I think if we have that itch satisfied in April, we're going to be disappointed because then it's like everything else is just coasting. You know what I mean? Like, as great and amazing as it would be to see him win 17 at WrestleMania 41 against somebody like Cody Rhodes, maybe, like that would be so fun and definitely memorable. But is it going to be more memorable than if he won it at SummerSlam? I don't think so. I don't know that him winning 17 is going to matter where it happens, as long as it's on like a big four, for instance. Like, I think it's just going to be monumental no matter when it happens. And I think if we see him lose, once or twice, that is going to make it so much better than for when he does finally win it. Because I want to be tricked into believing it's not going to happen. That's what I want.
So the way that Tony Khan booked Sting's retirement was that he rode off into the sunset, winning the tag team titles with Darby Allin. And from what you're saying to me, that's how you would like to see Cena end his career. And I couldn't agree more after we talked it out, because the fan in me, every emotion came out of, yes, give him 17, give him the Intercontinental, Grand Slam, sure. Like, I just don't care because that's our guy. That's John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, obviously from a logistical standpoint, like, how do you make that all happen in a year span and storylines and, this, that, and the other? Where you also have to think, yes, of course, they're going to make him the 17-time champion to break Ric Flair's record. The man is the physical embodiment of WWE right now and the best poster boy for the brand. And if he's not the guy to be the overall, most championships, and it's Ric Flair, it's a bad look. But the way things are going, if you gave him the win at, say, WrestleMania, well, that's May through December. He has to fight as champion. And that's too many ups and downs for a farewell tour.
And him not being there enough because he's only signed on for a certain number of dates. And how many times have we complained about champions not being there?
Exactly. The best way I can describe this to you, Sarah, using, a little bit of your jargon, your vernacular, is like a Peyton Manning, for instance, or, how we wish Tom Brady went out with the Patriots instead of the Bucks. It's these, stories of the person that built something, built the franchise into what it is now with this prestige and this lore and all of that, where you want them to win their final season. You want them to go out as a champion. In wrestling, it's different because, one, you never know when your last time is. Every wrestler will tell you that. And for Cena to know when his last time is going to be and be so dead set on it being the last time, then why not have him win it on his last match in December when it's all else fails? He even said it that the whole story is he hasn't won a singles match in like 200 or something. Like,
no,
right
2000.
now, 2000.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's like that's the way they're introducing this, is that, yeah, we want him to win the big one. We want him to break Ric Flair's record. This man can't even get a win, period. So right now, if he doesn't win for like a month, like the first couple matches into it, then yeah, like, I'm into having his last match be the one where he wins and have WrestleMania be like just another hurdle.
See, and that's what I had originally said, that I kind of thought it would be cool if he went out like Trish Stratus. Like, Trish Stratus won the women's title, and then the next night she gave it up and retired. And I wouldn't be mad about that, but I still feel like it would be kind of cool if Cena won it at like SummerSlam. I just don't want him to win it the first time or two. And I saw some people being like, you want him to struggle? It's John Cena, guys. Like, if we're going to make him interesting, then he has to lose sometimes. Like, I don't think that people will be satisfied if he just comes in and wins every single time. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't think that's going to be fun for anybody. And I'm like the biggest John Cena fan. So like, I'm not saying this from any sort of biased perspective.
No,
it's just
ball.
I think also when we're thinking about it from Cena's mindset, he's not going to want to go over on somebody who actually needs that championship to like elevate them. Like, I don't know that I would see him being okay with beating Cody or beating Gunther. We might see somebody who doesn't really need the help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
At the point that he beats Gunther, right? Maybe Gunther had been champion for over a year. So it's like, whatever, it doesn't matter at that point. He's been champion for a year. But I think Cena's going to have more say in this than he wants us to think, or he might be more hands off, but I don't think he's going to want to do it right away either. I don't think that's going to be fun for him. And I would love to see Cena and Orton. I think if they do that, I think if Orton does anything, we might see it with Cody, but I don't know.
I would see that makes sense too. Like, that makes more sense for him to face Orton or someone at Mania.
Yeah, like if Randy takes the title off Cody, then maybe Cena takes it off Randy. because no one's gonna fucking care about like it being taken off Randy. It's Randy Orton. You know what I mean?
I don't think anyone cares if Cena takes it off anyone.
I know, but like I would be kind of like, you know what I mean? But also that would put Randy one step closer to getting to 16 because isn't he at 14 or 15 right now? So like that is an interesting dynamic.
Oh, I know he's up there too.
If Cena beats the guy that's right on his heels to become the longest or the most title holder, you know what I mean? Like that is kind of an interesting thing. And that feud, because obviously it would be heel Randy Orton, like fighting over who had a bigger impact on the industry, who was really the face of the company, like that kind of thing. Fire.
That would be fire. That would be flames.
Yeah, it would be so good. Okay, we still have so much. Okay. Then we got to see Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. And as I predicted, Liv Morgan lost, and I'm bummed about it. And I will live and die on the hill that she deserved a better title reign. I'm not saying she deserved a substantially longer one. I'm not saying, anything other than I feel like she deserved to have a better reign that didn't only revolve around Rhea Ripley. That's all. I think that we should have seen more from her. Like, yeah, she was champion for over 200 days, but I didn't like how this ended. I didn't like how Dom got in the ring and then looked like he was trying to hug her. I just didn't love this whole thing. I feel like, what does Liv do now? I would assume Liv versus Rhea is over.
Yeah, for the time being. Yeah. But I don't think Liv got buried. A lot of people are saying that Liv got buried. I just think, yeah, obviously she deserved a better title reign, but it just closed the chapter on this title reign for her. I could see Liv Morgan having another 2 or 3 title reigns, whether it's the WWE or World Championship.
I don't think
she
so.
has that. Oh, I disagree.
I think
she has it, and this just was a step in that direction of her being someone you could trust with the championship.
I think this was her last title run. I think all that we'll see
for
from her now is in general. I think that we're gonna see her have mid-card championships.
No. Not you don't have
that's the vibe that I get from Triple H. Triple H has favorites. His favorite by far right now is Rhea Ripley. He does not hide that.
Don't have her do Entertainment Tonight segments of touring her house and whatnot.
I know, but that's not necessarily
WWE
though. She has an agent.
So but I'm saying like stuff like that, like that's putting yourself in the pop culture. That's exactly what you want for WWE to put their champion. Like,
I guess I'm just concerned about what happens from here because I feel like we just didn't get. I think she deserved better. I think that we didn't get everything that we should have gotten from this title reign, even though it was so much better than when she beat Ronda and was the champion for a little bit. Exactly. I just feel like there was a lot that we didn't really get to see, get to experience with her as champion. Like there's so many stories that could have come from this. We could have had a lot more matches, and actual feuds with some of the other girls that were not named Rhea Ripley. Like that's the part that I feel robbed by. You know what I mean?
I will say, yeah. But it was also a title reign that happened by chance.
Yeah.
Because Rhea got hurt. So she filled in and crushed the time being as champion. However, yeah, obviously Rhea came back a lot earlier than people expected. So that threw a wrench, but look at the title reign she had. It was by accident. I don't think that. Get out of here.
We're almost getting to that point, though.
Get out of here.
We're almost getting.
No.
Girl had the title for a year. She did not need it back.
Because she's Rhea Bloody Ripley. Look at her. What person do you think is going to...
But still.
I
Anyway, so we did see The Undertaker put her over. I don't have a whole lot to say about it other than I don't feel like it was necessary. Like, does Rhea really need...
Well, do you know what the story is now? Well, do you know what the story is? That
no.
Becky Lynch was rumored to come out after that match.
I hated that idea.
And they threw an audible to have The Undertaker. In that case, I actually am a fan that they had The Undertaker over Becky Lynch. Because what are you going to have Becky do? Like, you just got, like, what was that they're gonna have a stare down or something for the title. That's overdone and should only be done in big match moments where you have an opportunity for someone like The Undertaker to put over Rhea Ripley, not only to the casual fan, whatnot, but backstage too. Like, this is a moment that actually makes sense moving forward, not only for the brand but for wrestling period, where Becky Lynch is going to be on Netflix. It's already been talked that she signed a deal, extension, whatever. So she's going to be back regardless. There's no reason to rush it when you could have it done right, when there's no time restrictions on it.
Yeah, and I think so if that was the case, then yeah, I'm fine with it being The Undertaker, because I had already said if it, the rumor was that she was going to come out after the women's world title match, and the fact that it was Rhea that won, I would have absolutely hated it, because Becky shouldn't have any beef with Rhea. The last time they met, it was at WrestleMania. Becky lost, and she ended up winning the title, but she lost it to Liv. So wouldn't her problem be with Liv? So that was why I was a little bit concerned. I'm like, okay, well, if she's going to come out and go after Rhea, that doesn't make any sense based off of the last times that we saw Becky on TV. And I would rather see Becky versus Liv at this point than Becky versus Rhea. I'm just not interested in that and revisiting that feud again. We just saw it not even a year ago, But I am excited to see her back, because I do think that the women's division on Raw needs some help. We've been saying this basically since they did the draft and they loaded SmackDown, which is why potentially they teased Bayley making a trade to Raw, and I am here for it, especially if Charlotte is going to be returning soon, potentially at the Royal Rumble, and going on SmackDown. They need to move somebody like a Bayley, like a Charlotte, like a Bianca, somebody from SmackDown to Raw. If it's Bayley, I'm here for it.
I love Bayley being on Raw because it switches her up. It gets her away from that Bianca, Jade, Naomi.
It just revisits the Damage Control part.
But yeah, she'll come over to Raw and be part of Damage Control, like that story, feuding with them. Maybe not even be feuding with them outside of a title. It's Bayley is someone that you just need to have on Raw. She's probably the best face to do so on Raw, and it also gives a fresh face to feud with for Liv. I mean, that's easy thrower at Liv, because Liv's got everything, Judgment Day, or thinks she has everything. And then Bayley comes in and says, oh, I thought I had everything with Damage Control, and they left me. They didn't, whatever. So there's something there.
They're going to do something, and I think it's the right move. I mean, because they haven't done the trades yet. So I think that it's good if they're going to involve women, because I think that's really important to be moving someone from SmackDown to Raw. Not even just one person. It could be multiple people. And I'm not saying take like and Bianca and so-and-so, but like Raw needs some more girlies over there, because SmackDown is loaded with some of the top women in the company, and Raw is struggling, especially when we don't have Becky, so if Bayley's going to be over there and maybe fill in the meantime, then I'm into it.
I'm for it. I'm fucking for it.
Alex says that he is not excited about another year-long plus reign from Rhea Ripley. I'm not either. And I like Rhea, but like people seem to forget that her last title reign, she defended the title like 3 times, and like one of them was against Zelina Vega. Please tell me on what planet Zelina Vega had a chance against Rhea Ripley.
In Puerto Rico, her home country.
I know. So that's the thing. When people wanted to talk down about what Liv Morgan did, you don't have to be a fan of Liv Morgan. I'm not saying that. But to act like her title reign was so much worse than the year long of Rhea Ripley, when she literally didn't have what they said, that she didn't have a singles match for however many months. She defended the title 3 times in the entire year. I don't want to see that. That's not a fun title reign. I'm not saying you have to defend it every single PLE or multiple times, a month on Raw, but like, can you have real feuds? Can you like actually like defend the title so we remember that you're the champion? That's the thing that I'm a little concerned about, especially because of the landscape of the women's division on Raw right now. Like who's going to step up to Rhea and actually have a chance?
That's what I'm saying. Bayley might be able to do it.
Yeah.
And then if not, she goes to Liv. Boom.
For sure. Let's see. I agree. Alex agrees that Liv shouldn't have lost. But anyway, so although they kind of teased that Penta was going to be there for the Netflix debut, he was not. But they confirmed that it was him in that vignette, graphic video, whatever you want to call it. They spelled out his name. And we found out that they seem to also be putting the match of him being the secret partner for Rey Mysterio on the back burner as well, because Chad Gable says that he wants to face the best luchador next week on Raw, which of course that's going to be Penta. So people are stoked. And I am not someone, I know who Penta is. I'm not super familiar with everything that he's done in his career, obviously, but I like this way of bringing him in rather than just like throwing him in, like I said, into the LWO vortex. Like we talked about that last week, that I was a little bit concerned.
We gotta get you out of there.
Yeah, like they can interact with him, like Ray has, but like having him come in as a singles guy and not having to rely on like I'm with the LWO, that's a good thing. And I think him having a match with Chad Gable, fire.
Absolutely 6 feet away at all times from the LWO vortex.
Yeah.
Wait, you may not be as familiar with Penta, but I have been watching AEW for a couple of years now, and even watching old clips of Lucha Underground of him even taking on Chelsea Green. But what I saw in AEW with the Lucha Brothers, that man can go. And not only the in-ring stuff, like, yeah, he's fantastic. You're going to see it next week. But the interaction that he has with the crowd, like the connection he has, that's what he is going to bring to WWE that not a lot of other free agents will. And his style is so much different than the other luchadors that are in WWE right now because he's way more aggressive. Gunther has been on record saying that the hardest chop he's ever received is from Penta, and that's coming from Gunther. He's going to be putting on matches where you're really going to wonder, could they put like the world title on him? He's going to be fighting in, depending on, he's on Raw, so he'll be in the Intercontinental picture, like him and Braun Breaker. This is a perfect first match to get him acquainted into the WWE system with Chad Gable because their styles, flow very well together.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for this and can't wait for the first Cerro Miedo that he hits in Chad Gable's face. And that man's going to not know what to do with that hand in his face.
Yeah, I think it's going to be it's a great way to introduce him to people who aren't familiar with him, and show that he is legit in the ring, So I think this was a much better decision. I'm not sure why they changed it suddenly, but I'm not really going to question it because whoever thought this was a better idea, I agree, Anyway, moving on to Jey Uso unsurprisingly beats Drew McIntyre for absolutely no reason. I agree with you, DS, that I don't know what's going on, Drew McIntyre. So we talked about this before we went live, and I think I have a reason for it. So the Women's Intercontinental Championship Finals was going to be on the Netflix debut, but they thought it might be kind of buried in the shuffle of everything else that was happening. So they pushed it out.
After last night, still agree, by the way. After last night, still.
And I think that was why this match was created, to just kind of fill in that gap. And that was why it was like, okay, it's just going to be Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre. Why not? And so I think that's kind of why this match wasn't that long and why Jey Uso won, and especially the way that he did. this was one of the matches that I feel like did more harm than good for like the storyline purposes, because Drew should never lose via a roll up. First of all, at this point in his career, that's ridiculous. But second of all, there hasn't been like a lot of progression in this story between Jay and Drew. So I felt like Drew was due for a win in a match that felt significant, or at least on a bigger stage, because he got a win on Raw or SmackDown or whatever, but it's like that doesn't really mean anything when his like most significant recent match was with CM Punk and he lost. So this just kind of bummed me out, and I don't really know what they're going to be doing with them. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what Drew is going to be doing. Is he still going to go after Jay, or what this is? I don't know.
To me, this just felt that they wanted the fans to remember the entrance of Jey Uso from this match
with Travis Scott.
With Travis Scott blowing fat O's.
Yeah.
Fat O's in the crowd. Triple H just so thankful that Jey Uso did not say yes.
So is that the new theme song though? They didn't really, because we were supposed to get a Travis Scott performance of the new theme song. They did not really tell us what the new Travis Scott theme song was.
Do you want my honest opinion on what I think what happened?
What?
I think Travis Scott was supposed to perform his theme song, or the theme song for Raw.
He got high.
But he got so high.
Maybe.
That he didn't. And you know what? Sometimes you just get too high.
Maybe.
And you just forget to do stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I'll just sit in my CM Punk sweatshirt and be in that moment, because we've all been there. You know, we've all been there. But that was really all I'm gonna take away from this match, and I think that's all they want the fans to take away. You know, the cool drone shots of the entrance. I mean, it was fucking sick.
It was just like it was all for the hype of Jey Uso's entrance. That was basically all this was. They wanted Jey Uso on the card.
They want him on the card, and the roll-up is just going to piss Drew off even more, which is going to make him even more of an angry heel, and he's going to get into his shenanigans of beating up people backstage, whether their name is Uso or Honorary Uso. They're just going to be in his way, and that's what we're going to see for the next few weeks building up to the Royal Rumble. I don't care about it because there's other shit that's going on in the show that needs our attention way more.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I just want Drew to be involved in something meaningful, you know?
Could take a bit, but yeah, he'll be there.
All right, then we had
bum, 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 bum. Go fuck yourself, Hulk Hogan. Bum, 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 bum,
so
bum, bum.
There's some interesting theories about this, and I think it's funny. So Hulk Hogan obviously is now a proud sponsor, partner, whatever, with WWE for his Hulk Hogan beer. It's even one of the advertisements on the new ring mat. So of course he had to come out and talk about it, and it was boos the entire time. Like,
he got booed out of the stadium, Sarah. He got booed out of the arena.
Yeah, and then as he's leaving,
or Jimmy
you guys are awesome. And I'm like, do you need hearing aids?
It's called delusion, Sarah.
Yeah.
It's called delusion. Poor Jimmy Hart.
I know,
Sarah.
I know.
I love Jimmy Hart.
So there is a theory that Triple H did not want to send him out. That's the theory.
Oh, are you gonna say that? I'll let you go. Yeah.
That like TKO wanted to send him out or something. Like somebody above Triple H wanted to send him out. And that Triple H didn't fight it necessarily because he wanted to see, like, show y'all, like, the fans don't mess with this guy anymore. Like, because the thing is people are immediately going to yell and be like, oh, it's because of his political affiliations. It's this, it's that. It goes so far beyond that, because if we're really going to talk about political affiliations, there's a McMahon in the incoming presidential's cabinet.
Undertaker voted for Trump outwardly and got one of the biggest ovations of the night. So politics have nothing to do with this.
There are a lot of reasons that people are not a fan of Hulk Hogan right now. So there's a conspiracy theory that this was kind of something that Triple H wanted to happen. I don't know if there's any truth to that, But I am curious to see what happens because they then, like almost immediately after, showed him promoting the next Saturday night's main event, potentially implying that he's going to be there. And I don't know if that's a wise idea.
If he is there, I want Gunther to chop him till his chest is as red as his tights. All right, like or yellow tights.
I don't know.
Red as his bandana.
Well, his pants are red and yellow.
Tomato, potato. But the point is, I am so sick of seeing Hulk Hogan on my screen. And for everyone in my life who is an old head and only really knows WWE as The Rock and Hulk Hogan, ask me why I hate Hulk Hogan. I don't have enough time on this show. Maybe we could dedicate an episode to that, but I don't like to spew that much hate.
Yeah.
But it really comes down to how he is so out of touch. Like it was there. Like, thank you for doing what you did, putting wrestling into the mainstream and into pop culture, but you're your ass backwards.
Yeah,
right?
It's
you
not
should be
the
left
80s.
in the past.
It's not the 80s anymore.
Okay. Yeah, like Drew McIntyre said, the best wrestling ever in history is happening right now. You know, it's not the 80s of the big dudes all jacked up and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, it's right now. And the fans know that. They don't want to see Hulk Hogan anymore. They want to see The Undertaker and Triple H and The Rock because they still get it, even though they were in there. They get what's going on now. He doesn't get it. So leave him in the past.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So people are just in the comments like laughing about how much he was booed. Yeah,
it's so
apparently
funny.
It was way worse in person too. Because I had a friend there. Apparently it was like way, way, way worse in person than how it came through on television. So it doesn't surprise me. But anyway, then we got to the main event, which was Seth Rollins versus CM Punk in their first meetup of this new feud. And it was a long match. It was a good match. It was just not what I wanted to happen. I really did not think that CM Punk winning this match was I didn't think it was a great idea.
Oh, Sarah.
As we said, the controversy of WWE backing the guy that shit on your company for 10 years, like, bro. So, I still think that this should not be a one-time thing. Especially because both of these guys left on their own merit. You know what I mean? Like, there was not really any blood that was purposeful. It wasn't like super hardcore or anything.
No, it was brutal. It was just hard-hitting, brutal action, which was good. It was a great main event.
But this feels like a match that could get to the level of Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk. So that's why I'm like, I don't think we're quite there yet. But Punk is in a position where he doesn't have to give him a rematch. You know what I mean? Because he'll be like, I beat you the first time. Like, why do I need to face you again? You're the one who has a problem with me. I only have a problem with you because of the things that you were saying. I didn't have beef with you before. So I don't know how this picks up. Maybe they put it on hold and then they like come to a face-to-face in the Royal Rumble. And that is kind of how they like pick it back up again. I don't know, but it was a good match. I'm glad that it was the main event because I think it was definitely a lot more entertaining than the Tribal Combat match. So I'm glad that they, went against what they had been doing and making anything that Roman Reigns was in was the main event. So, but I don't have a whole lot to take away from this match other than I'm not sure how they pick it up from here. That's the only thing that I'm like, where do they go?
Well, they're going to continue it. I can tell you that. Seth cannot be too thrilled about losing on the debut episode of Raw on Netflix. And Triple H even said in the press conference that this is only the beginning of where their feud's going to go. I could very much see Seth being irate that he lost, that, he tried to even hit Punk with his own finishing maneuver and couldn't do it. There's a lot of different ways you can go about this. Maybe you pick it, you don't pick it back up immediately right now, but one of them throws the other one out at the Rumble, or Punk throws Rollins out at the Rumble based on what we're
we've been talking about this episode. You know, there are a lot of ways you can go about this, and it's going to pick up. I don't really have set plans on how. You know, I just know it's going to, because that's what I mean. Look at how it ended. You know, Punk going over against Seth in the first match. Like, it just doesn't, like, it needs to be another one. This match left you wanting, okay, a little bit more. You know, I want to see these guys go at it again. And that's what they did a good job of doing.
Yeah, I could almost see this being something that maybe they have like another one-off or whatever. I don't know that I see this happening at Mania now. That's just like, I feel like you can't really hype it up anymore because we already saw it, you know? Like, I don't know what could happen between now and Mania to get people invested in this enough for it to be like, oh yeah, we really need to see it. I could see them like touching on it, you know, maybe like you said, one eliminates the other. Maybe they both get put in the elimination chamber and they're trying to compete for the title, you know, for the Raw title, for the World Heavyweight title. Maybe that's how Punk gets in. Maybe it's Punk Gunther at Mania. But I don't know that we see this. I think they're going to have different plans for these guys at Mania. That's why I said, like, I was kind of confused about why they decided to go with this for the Netflix debut, because they were going in the direction of making it the Mania match last year. So for them to just kind of like throw it away for the Netflix debut makes it seem like, okay, this is not their plan for Mania. There's going to be something else for these guys. I don't know what that is, but I also feel like they can't just stop this now. You know, there needs to be some way for it to continue. But if it's not going to be the end game for Mania, that's fine. But we still need to see this finished somehow, because this feels very undone. You know,
undone. That would be a good way to describe it. Undone. Did you see how? You wouldn't have got this now that I think about it out loud. The finish to the match was the same exact way that CM Punk beat Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, for the AEW championship.
Oh.
And he beat the same Shield member.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw Cope.
See, I like that. What did you say about Cope?
Cope doing that thing with like putting the like thing in the
the bar.
Yeah,
the bar. We are the bar.
And he's done that to now every Shield member.
I saw that, yeah.
And I'm like, we don't care. The fact that you're like 80 years old and you're like, call me Cope, that's enough for me to check out. So
when I hear Cope, I think of terrible chewing tobacco.
I think of Twitter trolls that are like, Cope, Brady is not the GOAT. Cope. Like, shut the fuck up. Diaz says, at this point, don't let Roman versus Punk happen, because that match is never going to end. They will just hit 80 finishers on each other. Even Prime Super Cena would laugh at the superpowers Punk has now. I mean, I don't disagree.
Superman punch.
I mean, it's kind of
Superman punch.
That's the thing. That is one of the things that I said that I was going to have a problem with on this road to whatever Punk is doing right now, is that Punk needs to be able to lose. He lost 1 out of 3 to Drew McIntyre. Just beat Seth in their first matchup. Like, he can't be this untouchable fixture at 46 years old, especially when Cena's going to be coming in, and that's not going to be him. You know what I mean? And who has more of the right to be in that position? Cena. So like, I think that if Punk wants to be like an active guy, more active than Cena's planning to be this year, then he needs to be able to lose. And so hopefully we'll see more of that. Like, I'm not saying he has to lose everything, but we need to have less of these guys that feel like they're being protected and like they always have to win. Like, I don't want like 10 of those people being on the roster right now. Like, I don't want that. So
do you want to see CM Punk versus Cena at some point in this farewell?
I think we have to. I don't necessarily want to.
Right?
I mean, 46, 47-year-old CM Punk versus 48-year-old John Cena. I'm not that into it, but I think for this final run and for nostalgia purposes, they're going to do it. They're going to do something, which is probably not going to be an enjoyable watch, but
could be at a house show.
No, they won't do that. No. That'll be like a Saturday Night Main Event or something, or like a lower end pay-per-view, like Saudi or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's what it'll be. Because like if you weren't around the first time, then you missed it out. Okay, that was like 10 to 12 years ago. If you didn't get to see the Summer of Punk, then that's on you.
Oh, the Summer of Punk was unbelievable. Oh, and I had NXT ruined for me.
I feel like that disregards how impactful Cena was, but it's just I feel like people know what I'm talking about. Know what you're talking about when you say Summer of Punk. You know what I mean?
I do. I know. I know what you mean.
But yeah, that was Raw.
That was Raw. And I hope the peeps know what you meant by the Summer of Punk. And if they don't, we definitely talked about it on the channel. So just go over there, check out some videos that we posted already, some of our shorts. Go see where Sara predicted that KO would at some point help out the Bloodline 2.0, which I didn't think would happen. But it did, and we have it on record. So go check that out. And then because we're so great, like we're so awesome, and you loved our content, hit that subscribe button and bell notification to know every time we post. I saw it today when, get this, Sara, I was at work, and I'm walking by a guy, and he's watching Dom get kicked in the nards on TikTok. And I'm like, you watch wrestling? And he was like, yeah. He was like, yeah. I'm like, I literally grabbed his phone. I'm like, you're subscribed to my channel. So then he subscribed to the channel right then and there. So hopefully he tuned in tonight. You know, he doesn't speak English, but you know, that's why you have Google Translate. So but shout out Felipe if you are watching. So yeah, we got him to subscribe. And the whole point of that rant was I saw that we were at 21:15.
No.
Or something like that. No.
We are at 21:56.
21:56. All right. So we need a little bit more. Let's get to 2,200 by the end of January. I think that's a good goal to get to 2,100, 2,200 followers by the end of January. All right. Make that happen so that we can make this our full-time job. I know the bad guy said Sara should cover wrestling full-time instead of the Patriots. Well, you could do both.
Is that what he said?
Okay. He did. But I think that's more because he loves your wrestling stuff and not because he doesn't like your Patriots stuff. I think he just I'm going with the positive here.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, football, the Patriots, my bills. So
yeah, we get that.
Yeah.
Not yet. Yeah. So let's you gotta have a day job before you get the dream into full effect. So yeah, we'll be back on Thursday for the Super Show, and we got a little surprise for you coming out this week. Be on the lookout for something new. It's the only thing I'm gonna give for right now. We'll announce it officially on the show on Thursday. So we have an announcement for you on Thursday and along with our Super Show. So until then, thank you guys for tuning in. God bless. Remember that you can do it. All you got to do is try. See you Thursday.